So here we are on Ask the Expert series, and one of the things that we're doing here with the Martin Eiden team is the first Thursday of every month, we're going to be looking at a different market for that Compass covers, and so people can kind of learn about different markets and what's going on and stuff. So today, I'm very excited that we have Whit Prouty in. And Whit, hold on just one second. Whit, I'm going to go ahead and have you, well, tell us a little bit about yourself
Sure.
and how long you've been in real estate and how did you get into business? I always like to hear people, how did they get into the business?
Sure. So I've been in real estate in LA for, I'm starting my 20th year selling real estate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations, 2
So
decades.
thank you. How I got into real estate in Los Angeles, I was going through a transition period. I actually was in the entertainment industry. I worked for Universal Pictures and for Jersey Films, and was looking to get out of that industry. Happened to know
Okay.
a really well-known realtor in the San Fernando Valley,
Okay.
and he suggested that I sell real estate, and he said that I would love it, and yeah, so it kind of just went from, yeah, I'm unmuted now.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. All right. So just quickly, what were you in the entertainment business? What did you do exactly?
Sure. I actually was the story editor for Jersey Films, so I read a lot of scripts, and what I did was I helped the producers find content to pitch to movie studios and come up with what was going to be the next movie.
Okay, I got you. And how did you transition into real estate? What you how did that trigger for you, or what happened?
Yeah, I also on the side always had an interest in fitness and
Okay,
was and so because of that interest in fitness, I did some personal training on the side as well too. And I ended up taking that sphere of people, the people that I trained with, and also my entertainment people, and they became my clients for real estate as I started that new endeavor.
okay, I got you. And so just a quick thing, what made you decide to want to sell real estate in LA? Like what made you take the step forward to do it?
Always loved homes, loved people, and the combination of relationships, people, um, the excitement of a beautiful home, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's great. That's great. For everybody just joining in quickly again, this is Whit Prouty here of Compass LA. And in the spirit of full disclosure, he's also a member of the Martin Eiden team. But I'm just, there is no but. I'm just super excited to talk to Whit. So tell us a little bit about LA. Now, a lot of us that were, quote unquote, New York based, we started to see a slowdown in 2018. 2019 was the worst year for real estate in New York City in over a decade. We saw a little bit of rebound in 2020, pre COVID-19, and who knows what's going to happen when we come back. I'm predicting another slight downturn. But tell us a little bit tell us about LA and how the run has been, since the Great Recession.
Very different marketplace than New York. 2019 was a good year for LA real estate. We had an average price increase of 9% over 2018.
Incredible.
Yeah, our sales volume declined just a tiny bit, but not that much. Our sales volume declined by about 3%, so we didn't sell quite as many homes. But our pricing, though, has been phenomenal. We've had from 2009 to 2019, big picture, we've had a great run. And
What
that,
was the appreciation? Has it been like about 100%, would you say, or more?
okay,
Or I know it's it's always neighborhood dependent.
So let me give you let's talk about that big picture in Los Angeles and give you the neighborhoods that actually fared the best, which is really, I think is really interesting part of LA's market. So there are two very different types of neighborhoods that fared best from 2009 to 2019. The neighborhoods just north of downtown, Silver Lake, Echo Park, Highland Park, Eagle Rock, Atwater Village. Those neighborhoods did extremely well. Those neighborhoods in that 10-year period saw anywhere from 125 to almost 150% increase in value. So you would have more than, if you bought in 2009 in one of those neighborhoods, you would have more than doubled what your home was worth in that 10 years here. Give you a real specific thing. Let's talk about Atwater Village. Atwater Village,
okay.
Typical home in Atwater Village would be a smaller home, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 2 bedrooms, 2, maybe a 3-2.
What was that? What's like a square footage of that?
Sure, 1,000 square feet to maybe 1,800. Definitely under a 2,000 square foot home. Modest home. Okay. Also, a modest size lot, probably a 5,000 to 6,000 square foot lot, which for those of you that do acres, I think that's around a 1/7 or an 1/8 of an acre, somewhere in there. So pretty small.
Okay. Does that come with a garage too, or a driveway?
Usually you would have a driveway and a detached garage, usually either a single or a double. And usually a lot of those homes had driveways along the side of them with a detached garage in the back. So that kind of gives you
these neighborhoods, starter homes, a double, and one of the chats, by the way, everybody, feel free to chat in or on the chat to everyone, chat in your questions. So quickly, why do you think these neighborhoods had, 120 to 150% appreciation over a decade?
Well, yeah, let's go to, so like, just to give you an idea back to numbers wise, and then I'll go to that. So those homes started off $400,000, around there for the average sale price in 2009 for a house there. Last year, average home price there, just under 1.1 million, which big difference, right?
That's incredible.
So what changes that? Well, what changes that are the proximity to downtown, just obviously proximity to getting around Los Angeles as well too, particularly as downtown caught fire and we really have started building up downtown Los Angeles. Those neighborhoods through transportation, through mass transportation, the subway, all of that kind of stuff actually were impacted in a positive way in these last 10 years. And those were the neighborhoods that were found to have a lot of potential for growth. Obviously, in our marketplace, at that point in time, $400,000 was not cheap, but certainly value oriented. And certainly there was room for growth there. The other interesting, the flip side, is that the other neighborhoods that did really well and experienced that type of growth were, and I'll date myself here, like the blue chip or the luxury market, right?
Okay.
So
and what neighborhoods are those? Go ahead.
3 Bs: Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Brentwood. Saw crazy growth as well. So you had homes that in 2009 that were selling under 2.5 million, under 3.5 million. And then last year, that same average price point was up above $8 million.
Incredible.
That's
Now,
a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, I'm sure there's been, physical improvements made to these properties and renovations over time and that type of thing. So it's interesting, and I'll go back to you in a minute, where it's similar for everybody here that's kind of a little bit New York based. even with the correction of last year, the Brooklyn corridor of Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, and Bed-Stuy saw the similar appreciations to what you were talking about. Anywhere, well, probably about 100 to about 150. We have a townhouse now that they're almost getting 200% return on when they bought in Bed-Stuy. And then interestingly enough, you know, quote unquote, the blue chip, you know, everybody, it's location, 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 right? So that's
Absolutely.
also very, very interesting. So what is, how was the beginning? I want to talk about, I want to get eventually to, you know, hot neighborhoods if people feel like they've missed out on these, or is there still room on that? We'll come back to that. I also wanted to ask you, you know, how was the beginning of 2020 looking, Q1 before COVID-19? Was everything still strong and happening? And what do you think is going to happen when things resume?
Okay, so I have a bit of information here that I prepared to
Okay.
talk to you about the beginning of Q1. So our Q1 just continued on where our 2019 was. All the data now that has come out, because now we can see what that data looked like, is through March, our pricing actually had increased not quite the 9%, but we were at 8.5% above in March where we were in March of 2019.
Okay.
So we were just continuing to rise in price. It's real interesting. California Association of Realtors, a lot of my statistics come from them. They're our association here, part of the National Association of Realtors. In 2020, they talk about how job growth on a bigger level actually was beginning to accelerate, even though we've had record low unemployment. And consumer sentiment also at the beginning of this year was also very high as well too, very positive. The other interesting thing too is that when surveyed, most people thought that it actually was a very good time to sell in the beginning part of our year.
Interesting. So maybe perhaps cresting a little bit. Quickly, what are there deals out there now, do you think, or what's post COVID-19 gonna do?
Okay, so COVID hits mid-March, right? And where are we now? Our closed sales right now, we're off about 13% from where we were in 2019. Our new listings are down almost 50% from where they were. And I kind of go back to that survey that I was talking about before, that CAR does this weekly survey. And so in January, 27% people thought it was a good time to buy. 62% thought it was a good time to sell. Today, as of last week, actually May 1st survey that was done by CAR, 31%, so a little bit more up, thought it was a good time to buy, but only 29% thought it was a good time to sell, which then leads to what's happened with our pricing. Our pricing has only gone down about 3% from where we were. And this is really due to the fact that sellers have pulled properties off the market, or they've just said, I'm not reducing my price. I'll sell when I sell. We're going to see how this plays out. And so as sellers have decreased, some buyers have decreased, but the ratio between the number of buyers that are still out there versus the number of sellers is still a little closer to being favorable for sellers, which has kept pressure, along with low interest rates, on prices.
Okay, that makes sense. Although, you know, 3% of $1 million is 30,000 off. So that's something to, so it's interesting. So similarly here in New York, supply has gone down dramatically as well. and new listings. I think probably there'll be a slight bump up when things come up. So quickly, it's always funny. This half hour goes so fast, right? So number one, what are the up and coming areas in LA? So let's say I want to buy a place in LA. What are the up and coming areas that you would recommend that I would go for?
Sure. So I think what you're going to see are the well-known areas that, again, are still have good access to transportation, or considered good neighborhoods that maybe didn't quite see that 125% to 150% increase in sale price during that last 10 years. So those are neighborhoods like Koreatown, neighborhoods like Cheviot Hills. We can look at the corridor that is just below the 10 freeway, but above Culver City in what's called Silicon Beach. Also,
Okay.
if we go into the San Fernando Valley, neighborhoods like Sherman Oaks and Toluca Lake as well too, that did have price increase, but still they didn't see that over 100% price increase. So there's still probably, when we do come back to a marketplace that's pushing up again, we might see more appreciation in those neighborhoods when we come back this time, since we didn't experience that the last time. Still, most of the stuff you've got to remember as well too kind of radiates from the central part of Los Angeles out. And the closer you are to that, I want to say that center, which is downtown Los Angeles to like West Hollywood, and then you radiate out, those neighborhoods, as you go farther out, they become less desirable. As you come closer in, they're more desirable.
Okay. And quickly, what about downtown LA with all these loft renovations going on and everything else?
Downtown continues to be a really vibrant neighborhood. Still lots of building going on down there. And the truth of the matter is, the more that they add infrastructure such as grocery stores and places of convenience for people, still the more you're going to see people want to live downtown. So I would say it's mirroring everything else that is going on. It's probably right in the middle of that. If we looked at the graph on the properties that like the hot spots, and then the properties that didn't do so well, or the neighborhoods that didn't do so well in Los Angeles, it's probably in the middle.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to I want to go over what you get with different price points, but just some quick differences, right? So here in Manhattan and Brooklyn, you're expected to put 20% down on a property. My understanding is, out in LA, you can put a lot less down. Is that correct, or how does that work with price points?
Absolutely. Well, pre-COVID, we were definitely seeing where you could actually put just 5% down. We were seeing those loans again. After having many years of basically 20% down.
Okay.
The difference, what I would say, lending, one of the things that's really changed in our marketplace as well too is recession in 2008, lending was essentially crazy. You had a credit score, or you could fog a mirror, you could get a loan.
Right.
With the legislation that came out from our government regarding lending from that crisis, it really produced a lot of really good loans. So lenders were very, they had a lot more guidelines that they have to do with. So therefore, we had really good buyers in that 10-year period as well too. And so it also kind of makes sense that the longer that we went with these really good buyers, that they would start to do maybe more of the riskier loans and start to get to a lower down payment.
I gotcha. So what do you, I mean, what's the starting point of getting, to buy in? I mean, can you get something for 500,000? Can you get a condo for 500,000 or a fix up house?
You definitely,
What's, go
yeah,
ahead.
you definitely can get a condo for 500,000,
And what do
depending
you get?
on. So let's just say you want something 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. You could go out into the western portion of the valley, and you could definitely find something very acceptable in Woodland Hills, Tarzana, uh, maybe 1,200, 1,300 square feet for just under 500,000.
Okay. And the condo complex would have a pool and amenities and all that?
Correct. Yeah, we're in Los
Okay.
Angeles, so you're gonna. Well, we do have condo complexes that don't have pools. There
Right.
are quite a few that do.
Right. And if I want to, and then so what about like the $1 million range? If I want a freestanding home, can I get that for $1 million, or where does that go
Absolutely,
with me?
absolutely. $1 million, you are probably going to find something in the valley. Again, you're probably not going to be on the west side,
Okay.
and you're going to see probably you're either going to be very east and you're going to be like in maybe Burbank, where you might find for $1 million, you might find a 3-bed, 2-bath, or just over 1 million. Three
Okay.
bed, 2-bath, 1,400 to 1,500 square feet. And if you go west in the valley again, like let's say out to Tarzana, you could actually find that 3-bed, 2-bath house for about 750 to 800.
Okay. And
I
just
actually have some examples if you want me to share screen.
oh yeah, that would be great.
So I'll tell
Do I
you
have
what.
to go to Philip?
To what?
Do you have it on your? Can you share it on your computer, or did I
Yeah,
have to
let me
go
see
to?
if I can share my screen.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second here. And let's.
We pre-planned this, so we'll see if this actually works.
But yeah, let's see if it actually works or not.
Okay, it says you're starting to share a screen. All right.
There we
Um,
go.
okay.
Hey, all right. So here's a house in Tarzana, just like we were talking about. Um, and this house, 3 beds, 2 baths, 1,300 square feet, and it sold for 770,000.
Okay. Got it. All right.
And
And then let's say, go ahead. I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Whit.
No, go.
Okay. All right. I wanted to jump to the next price point because we just have a few minutes left. Um, this half hour always goes so fast. So what's kind of the next price point that I was going to say something like 3 million or 5, or is like, do you get quote unquote a good size house for 2.5? What's kind of is there a price point where you get much more if you cross it?
Yeah, I would say if you cross the 1.5 million number, um, again, depending where you are, because we have such vast price points. Los Angeles is so big. If you cross the 1.5 million number, you can then jump up to a home either in the eastern part or the western part of the valley that's 4 beds, 3 baths, anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 square feet. Also, maybe a little larger lot size. You may get like 10,000 square foot lot, or if you go West Valley, you might get closer to a 20,000 square foot lot. And then
Okay.
from there, if you want to see a jump on the west side, then you're really going to have to actually step up to about 2.5.
All right. So 2.5 puts you on the west side, in or around, that core, that you said within that radius of downtown through Hollywood or through what? I'm sorry. I don't mean to
Yeah,
forgot.
you're probably going to find something like
West
in
Hollywood. Go ahead.
Rancho Park, Cheviot, those areas, Westwood, those areas like that, that are really desirable areas. And to get into there, you're definitely going to need 2.5.
Okay. And what, quickly, the down payment, is it still only 5% on 2.5, or when does it jump up to 10% down or 20?
Yeah, you're
Or doesn't it
probably going to
matter?
see more along the lines of 10% on those homes with the jumbos,
Okay. Got it.
but still really, um, you know, lending's been good. And then also too, the price point for jumbo loans actually is still a little bit lower than it is on conformings.
Wow. All right, so we have about 4 minutes left. If anybody else wants to chat in and have any questions, that's great. So Whit, quickly here, here in New York, from when somebody sees a house, signs a contract, submits the, board application and commitment letter and all that jazz, 90 days have passed. Do I have to wait 90 days to close on a house in LA?
So pre-COVID, if you looked at all of our stats actually were 30 days or less for closings. You find the house, you submit a contract, it gets accepted, you've got 30 days from acceptance to close. And during that acceptance to close, contingencies are within that 30 days. So average, let's say you do 10 days for your inspections, and maybe you do have a loan contingency and appraisal contingency of 21 days. Well, that means you're closing 7 days after, or 9 days after that 21 days.
Got it. So if you're looking for property out there, if you want to be competitive, you have to be ready to act on something and move in something
quickly, and it's going to close quickly. And the statistic actually yesterday, California Association of Realtors released that because loans are taking a little bit longer now because of COVID, so they bumped it from 30 days to 33 days.
It was extra 3 days, man. What can you do?
Yeah, it's gone up, and we do expect it actually to go up a little bit more.
Okay, so great, Whit. So one last thing here is what's the hardest thing for LA real estate? Or can you see that comment, Whit? Let me just call it up here really quick.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
The best
the
thing.
Fact that the hardest thing would be that everybody has their license in LA.
Kind of like Miami. So you really want to work with a professional that knows.
You want to work with a professional that this is their business, this is their livelihood, this is how they put food on the table and pay their own mortgage.
Got it.
Best thing, it's Los Angeles. We have great weather 365 days of the year.
Yeah, the weather out there is just is truly amazing, and that's great. So one last thing before we go here is really, LA in general seems to be one of the big, success stories here in the US over the last decade. Do you have one or two sentences to talk about why you think LA became, accelerated growth?
Certainly, it starts off with weather and mountains and beach and desert, and just it's a beautiful place, desirable place to live. Then you start with a place like that, and then you add the entertainment industry, the glitz, the glamour, the marketing of Los Angeles over the last 100 years. To then throw in the fact that then you have tech bleeding down from San Francisco now down to Los Angeles. I mean, Los Angeles has so much industry. Our economy has been so strong. Job growth, the amount of money that people make with these jobs in Los Angeles, has been a very desirable place to live, which then puts pressure on housing as well too. Understood.
Well, Whit Prouty, thank you so much for giving us the insight on LA and the recording on this. People want to contact you. It's is it Whit at whitprouty.com?
You got it.
Okay, and Prouty is Prouty. and Whit is W-H-I-T. We'll have it on the recording here as well. But thank you so much, Whit Prouty, part of the Martin Eiden team out in LA with Compass. Thanks again. I really appreciate it, Whit.
Thank you, Martin.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.